So, I recently just watched a video that got me with its clickbait title that goes something along the lines of the incel to trans pipeline. Um, and it hit so fucking hard. It's difficult to explain because there's so many ideas rattling around in my head right now. One of which is I hope you don't hear how fucking loud my neighbors are. Jesus fucking Christ. Regardless. I found this video to be so potent. Not because it talks about incels or trans individuals, but because I found it so potent because it's such a coherent and difficult and nuanced analysis of what it means to be a human. It's wonderful. It talks about this one anime manga called Inside Mari, and it's a body swap premise where this hikikomori guy obsesses over and idealizes a woman, and one day wakes up to find himself inside Mari, inside this woman. Now, aside from the general tropes of like the body swap genre, it talks about a whole bunch of things. Most of which of the things that I found most potent, being that there's so much a woman experiences that is exceedingly easy for a guy to overlook. It's difficult for a guy to really comprehend all the pressures and expectations a young woman goes through just to fit in into society. There are ways to act, there are ways to look, there are ways to be. There are people who approach you and harass you. There are people who do worse. And that sparked a thought in my head, reminding me of all the times that I have tried to intellectualize the female experience. It's my own personal weird experience where at a young age, I remember saying to my family, today I'm a boy, tomorrow I'll be a girl, and then and it will go on, boy, girl, boy, girl. And they laughed it off. And I laughed it off. I never really thought about it beyond that. I was just kind of playing. But what's really strange is, even though they found it funny, even though who they are now, that kind of colors that experience a little bit differently. It kicked off how I see gender in a certain way, where it's a matter of analysis beyond practicality. This is kind of dumb. I'm phrasing it weird, and this is just what I do. I hope you understand. Growing up, I pretty much was inundated with the idea of like finding love, whatever that meant, dating a woman, having sex with that woman, being a guy, fulfilling these masculine traits. But like, nobody really like explicitly told me to act any sort of way. I just kind of mimicked the media that I was watching, because that's that's really the only socialization I ever had. Which is really strange, because it morphed me into something so what I would call personally disturbing and creepy. I can laugh about it now. I became an incel. I idealized women. I fixated on women. I wanted to understand them without having to put myself in the vulnerable position of actually talking to them. I found myself fantasizing about what it would be like to be a woman. I found myself dreaming about being a woman and having sex and feeling what it may feel like. And funny enough, of course, it was like just pleasure in my limited scope of understanding. And I say that with my current intellectualization of what a woman's experience is for sex, being that it's not always pleasurable. In fact, it's very, very rarely pleasurable. Regardless. In this manga series, Inside Mari, there's a final, like, end cap panel from the author talking about his own experience fantasizing about being a woman and seeking that experience of being other than what he is currently, or what he presents as. I forgot where I was going with this. Something. Ultimately, he doesn't transition. He doesn't even necessarily want to be a girl. In fact, that's the whole point of, like, the manga that he created. It's not about being a girl. It's about the exploration of what it even means to have this gendered experience. What it even means beyond that, into what it means to be a human. And to have the desire to be able to express yourself in a way that is not socially acceptable. For his case, to be cute, to go against the masculine standard of being, I don't know, jagged, rough, tough, masculine, and be demure, attractive, pretty, whatever. And that reminded me of my own friend, their experience with transitioning. And I guess now it's like finally time to get to my own personal crux of why I'm creating something. And that insofar as trans individuals, or any other individual for that matter, have sought out to be seen in the ways that enables them to feel seen, made me reflect on what I want to be seen as, how I want to be seen. And it's really simple for me. Like, I'm perfectly comfortable being a man. I'm perfectly comfortable presenting as a guy. I've never had any sort of issues with that. I find myself attractive in some cases. And in most cases, I don't even really think it matters. But how I connect with trans individuals is the sense of not being seen. And I wish to be seen as an intellectual, as a person who's rational, who's empathetic, who's understanding, who's wise and capable of offering some semblance of argument to bring peace to those I talk with, to the people I interact with and care about. I don't feel like I had a whole lot of socialization as a child, and as a result, I feel like the ways that I've developed as a person has entirely been centered around my intelligence, my rationality, my understanding, my brain, essentially. I find it really easy to be alone. I think needing people is silly, in a way. Mostly because of the people who I've interacted with very infrequently give me the thing that I seek. Give me the validation of seeing me for who I want to be seen as. And I guess, I don't know if I've made this clear already, but that person is the type of person is like who's clear and cogent and understanding and is able to communicate great and meaningful and impactful and deep and complicated ideas to another person, to share in the experience of being a human. I find I receive that validation most readily when I ask questions to the people around me, when I seek perspective on others and their lives. Mostly because that offers them a window into me, into seeing me. Most of the time, I feel really awkward. Most of the time, it doesn't really land because they take it into a more socially neutral level. But the impact is long lasting, actually, because the next time that I interact with them, they've developed this sort of expectation on who I am as a person. This person who asks questions, a person who investigates the world around them beyond the surface level. And on repeat engagement, I find that they do validate my sense of being. Infrequently, albeit. By saying things like, oh, you're a deep thinker, or you're really smart. I don't even like being called really smart. I think that's silly. Or you ask really good questions, and I've been missing your thought experiments. Now my brain's taking me on a different tangent. Inculcating this podcaster, Jocko Willink, into this line of reasoning about extreme leadership, wherein there's this stoic ideal that he embodies, wherein everything that happens to you and around you is your fault in some way. Maybe not fault, but maybe not necessarily fault, but rather it's everything that happens around you or to you is your responsibility. And to take on that responsibility will set you free beyond your own present existence. And the reason why I bring this up is because of that social interaction that I seek so desperately. And I literally said it already in this video by saying it doesn't even matter if the people don't necessarily dive into existentialism with you on the first conversation, but what matters is I set the expectation within the relationship prior. By leading with these deep questions, by leading the conversation towards something more interesting, at least to me, so that effectively I plant a seed to indulge in the way that I like being seen. Okay, Spark Notes time, even though it's like this is an incoherent video, it's not actually being edited properly in order to effectively or meaningfully share my experience. But, like, I want to also say that, like, gender doesn't matter. Gender is meaningless. Honestly, incredibly silly. So silly to the point that it actually alienates us from our being. It alienates us from what it means just to be a human. I think it's powerful to think that one can find solace in presenting in a certain way, socially, physically. And I think it's beautiful when that happens, when the way that you wish to be seen as happens. When people see you for the way that you want to be seen. For trans individuals to present as the gender that they identify with, for cisgendered individuals who don't necessarily have any ties but are friendly, like myself, to the community, to humans who want to be seen more than for the surface level, tacit labels that we adopt over time. I'm a son, I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm a philosopher, I'm a rock climber, I'm a friend, I'm a foe, I'm a debate lord, I'm an incel, I'm a this, that, and the other. But rather to be seen beyond these surface level understandings and to be seen for their being. Okay. Thank you for listening. If you listened, I don't know if you did. Probably not. This is never gonna get listened at least to this level. I hope you took something out of this incoherent, poorly produced video. And hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, but more importantly, beyond that, I just really appreciated making this video.